Welcome to Keeping It Realty.
Welcome back to Keeping It Realty. I'm your host, Martha Smith.
And I'm your co-host, Natalia Pierantoni.
And today's guest is someone who truly embodies transformation.
She's passionate about helping women reconnect with their bodies and redefine success and live with purpose.
From partner at a law firm to launching a successful hypnotherapy practice, please help us welcome to the podcast, Lani Gonzales.
Yay. Hello. I'm so excited to be here with you guys.
Thank you.
Lani.
We appreciate you coming.
Yes, we are super excited that you're here. I just love what you're doing for women. So let's dive right in. Tell us a little bit about your background. How did you go from law to hypnotherapy?
Oh, I shit my pants in the jungle. Long story short, I became a lawyer at 23 years old. And I did it because I believe that lawyers were people who spoke for other people who could not speak for themselves. But somewhere down the road, and I'm sure all people experience this, you got to pay your bills. You got to pay your student loans. And I ended up becoming a partner at a law firm and representing insurance companies. It fulfilled me to a certain extent. There's like that intellectual part of it, right? But I always felt like I was called to do more. And I travel quite a bit. So I travel around the world and I like to do things that locals do, get like the biggest, fullest experience. And I did ayahuasca in South America. And ayahuasca is a psychedelic tea that's been used for centuries to help people really tap into their deepest wisdom, their deepest truth. And it's been known to have healing properties. And I was like, listen, man, I've been to counseling for decades. I read all the self-help books. I'm just going to go and I'm just going to hang out with the God if there is even a God. And when
there is, by the way.
I like to think so, but who knows? But when I sat with it, it showed me that I had built an entire life based on a lack of self-worth, that I didn't feel good about myself. And I wanted to look good on paper. And it showed me, hey, girl, you want to see what you can actually do if you believed in yourself and genuinely and truly loved yourself? And it showed me helping other people. And what it actually showed me was me in an office and people crying. And I'm like, wait a minute, I'm a lawyer. The only person who cries in my office is me. So it made no sense. Right. And the message that I got was you are helping people come towards their light. And that really woke me up. And it was such a powerful experience. And you can't unsee that. So as a lawyer, I spoke for other people. And now what I do as a hypnotherapist, I also do psychedelic work. I'm like, let me do one better. Let me teach people how to speak for themselves. And as a lawyer, I represented insurance companies. So I got juries to feel bad for insurance companies, and I was pretty good at it. And now I think if I can make people feel bad for an insurance company, I can make you believe that you are whole and worthy and complete exactly as you are.
Mm-hmm. So what is hypnotherapy?
Ooh, hypnotherapy. Hypnotherapy is a way to slow down the brain wave state. So it's a way to get into that part of our brain that actually helps us program. So everything you know about yourself, the world, and everything in it, you have programmed between the ages of 0 and 7. So when you go to traditional counseling, it is a phenomenal first start. There is so much power in speaking your truth to someone, to being witnessed by someone in your most authentic state. But you're talking about your conscious thoughts, the stuff you know about. That is less than 10% of what happens in your brain. So hypnotherapy is a way of getting to that 90%, that stuff in your brain that you have no idea about, but it's running in the background. So that is the heart of what hypnotherapy does. It's the root cause of what goes on in your brain.
So I have a quick question. I've seen on TV, and I'm sure you've seen it too, where like people, like, I'm going to count to 3 and you're going to start barking like a dog. Is that hypnotherapy? Like, is that real or?
I'm going to say this. Yes and no.
Okay.
When you go to those hypnotherapy shows, people are going to be entertained. They are susceptible. They want to have fun and be part of that process. And when these people come into these shows, there are people in the backgrounds. I'm like revealing secrets.
Okay, reveal.
Yeah,
Reveal.
but
That's what we
there are
want.
people there in the backgrounds looking at people coming in to say, oh, I know this person. I know I can get them. I know I can get that person. I'm going to give you an example. As I'm speaking, you're nodding your head. I know that whatever about how I'm presenting or how I speak, you're susceptible to because I can already see that your body agrees with me. So if I were to pick someone, I might not pick you in a show.
I'm susceptible.
I'm going to say this, receptive.
Receptive.
So
Okay.
a lot of those people want to be part of that process, but you cannot get someone to do something that you do not want to do. And these people, they do want that break from reality. They want to be entertained. There is something called the critical factor in your brain, and it protects all of your subconscious programming to keep it safe. And hypnotherapy, part of what that is breaking open that gate that protects your subconscious programming so you can actually make real change.
It's powerful already. All right, so let's get into the mind-body connection and root cause of healing, right? So you said previously, healing starts in the body. So what does that mean, and how do we begin to do that work?
Ooh, I like to think that there is this mind-body connection and they are inseparable. So the mind informs the body and the body informs the mind. And a lot of times we think that, oh, as long as I rationalize this, for example, a lot of people, they know they can do better. They know they shouldn't go back to that ex. You know that you should be
100%.
treated better by your client, but here you are still going in the same patterns. Why? Because it's not enough to know. There is subconscious programming and there is information stored, and that information does not live in your conscious thoughts. It lives in your nervous system. So you ever been afraid of something and you flinch before you even process what's happening? That's your nervous system. That is your body and its training. And you cannot logically outthink a survival pattern that lives in your body. So it's not just about fine-tuning those thoughts that we know about. There is something going on in the body that is informing the mind. So we need to pay attention to a person as a whole and not just the thoughts that they have.
So interesting. Can you walk us through like a simple exercise that can help us identify maybe something that we have inside us that's holding us back?
Ooh, absolutely. So there is this concept called internal family systems. So if you've done a little bit of work, you might know about your inner child and that part of you that is talking, that is taking over even if you don't want it to. It's called internal family systems, meaning there's more than one member of that family. So there are multiple parts of us, multiple parts of our psyche that have been developed to keep us safe once upon a time. But maybe, just maybe, they're no longer serving a role that's beneficial. So let's say that you have this goal or there's something you want to accomplish, but yet you don't do it. You procrastinate, you hold yourself back. The reason that happens is that your parts are not in alignment. All of your parts are not in agreement. So I'll give you an example. I know that a lot of your audience, they are entrepreneurs. They're trying to build something. And you know there's this next level, or a lot of people, they get hung up on marketing and putting themselves out there. They know they should do it, but they don't because there is a part that's not in alignment. So starting to talk to those parts, what is it saying? Are you afraid to be seen? Are you afraid to actually reach for success because you think if you reach, you'll find out that you can't actually reach for it and you're a failure? What is it? So there are parts of us that are not aligned when we are holding ourselves back. So an exercise that you can do when you feel stuck, when you are not sure about why you're not moving forward in life, listen to your parts and see who shows up. Imagine maybe there's a version of you. Maybe it's just a color, a blob, a thing. Pretend that it could talk, and what would it say to you? The first thing that comes up and pops up in your mind, not logically thinking, the first thing that comes up in your mind. And that is part of what's in your subconscious mind that is holding you back. So I'm a big believer that we all have access to that higher knowing, our higher self. And it's just that we have forgotten how to tap into it. So Everyone can do that.
So good.
So how does hypnotherapy help shift those limiting beliefs, right? And bring us into alignment?
I'm going to start with this premise. The things that you believe are not outrageous. At one point in time, they were likely true and they had some sort of foundation. It's just that right now, they're no longer true. And I'm going to give you an example. Anxiety is a really common problem, especially with people who are high performing and they burn out. You probably have anxiety and you don't know it.
I know
Can we
it.
talk about it?
I know it. Me and anxiety are like this.
Besties.
That's so funny. So
I'm going to get into that.
it's funny because anxiety feels like it is your enemy and it holds you back. And there are beliefs about anxiety. But once upon a time, your anxiety, those beliefs kept you safe. So going back to childhood, if you perceived your environment as unsafe, unstable, insecure, it was advantageous for you to constantly be looking around, to anticipate the wants and needs of other people. So maybe mom and dad didn't yell at you. Maybe you didn't get hit. So being able to perceive everything and anticipate, to look ahead, it was to your benefit. That part of you was designed to keep you safe. But now fast forward, you are older and wiser. You're no longer in that same environment, but that part of you still exists that says we need to look around. We need to do these different things. So the way hypnotherapy works is we can actually slow down the brainwave state, tap into that part and talk to it and say, hey, thank you. Thank you is always the first part. We don't shame any part of who we are because it got us to where we are right now. And saying thank you to that part. Thank you for bringing me here. But we're okay right now. We don't have to run. We don't have to hide. We are safe and it's okay to soften. And when we tell ourselves the words we need to hear in theta brainwave state, which is the brainwave state where we learn and program, it lands and it sticks better than talking to yourself in a logical manner. So that's how hypnotherapy works.
That's amazing. Is there anything that someone can do on their own if they suffer from anxiety or any other?
Yes.
I was going to call it mental issues, but issues, right?
So we can talk about anxiety a little bit. So specifically, if there's someone who's struggling with anxiety and they want free resources and things that they can do at home, I'm going to give you the most basic thing, and it's one of the first things you do. You don't even have to learn it. And it's interesting because you come into this earth knowing how to do it.
Breathe.
Yeah.
And your breath, again, the body informs the mind informs the body. I guarantee you nobody in this room is taking deep breaths. It just simply is. And a lot of times we're not taking deep breaths. So when we are taking fast and shallow breaths, we are informing the mind to be alert, to be on guard. When we take slow, deeper breaths, we are informing our mind that we are safe and we are not in a state of fight or flight. So think of it this way. If you were being chased by a bear right now, you would be running really, really fast. You'd be breathing really hard. Your body is informing your brain that something is going on. And when you are in fight or flight, it's the primitive parts of your brain that are active, the ones responsible for running, the ones that are responsible for just making sure that you're safe. If you slow down the breath, for example, it's the saying, a sigh of relief. If you sigh exactly like that, and I love the way you sighed because it's just also a body sigh. When your shoulders drop and all of your air comes out, you don't sigh when you're being chased by a bear. You sigh a sigh of relief. So simply being mindful of your breath is a way to slow down your mind. It's a way to relieve anxiety.
Come on, ready?
One of those
That feels
big
good.
How do you feel?
sighs.
Do you feel better?
I feel nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you for that tool.
You're so
definitely use
welcome.
it.
Yeah. What does it mean to build from a place of worthiness?
Ooh, I love that. There is a difference between a person who is building in order to demonstrate and prove that they are powerful versus a person who knows wholeheartedly that they are powerful and they are building from that place. And I'm going to say the critical condition that like distinguishes those people is their why. Who do you serve? And when we serve from a place of genuine worthiness, we're not trying to prove. Versus if you do feel unworthy, there is that constant need to prove. And it is like being on this treadmill that never stops, because if you do not feel worthy, it's always going to be one accolade, one goal, one prize after another, and it never feels like enough. So when you are, and that's a question. It's like, how do you know if you're building from a place of worthiness or a place of a lack of worthiness?
That's good.
It never, ever ends. If you are building from a place where you truly feel unworthy, it is a never ending cycle.
So let me ask you this. Do you think that worthiness is often led to, like, how do I explain it? Worthiness is often tied to productivity. Do you think that?
It can be. So in a lot of Western societies, including our own, we are taught to be productive, and we are told and trained that our worthiness is tied to our productivity. From the very beginning, you have gold stars, you get grades and numbers and marks, there's standardized testing, and now even your salary is based on your performance. And there are so many components to how we value things, and we can shift that. So for example, it's not just about how you perform in your industry, it's also about social capital, environmental capital. There are so many other ways to, when we're talking about business, how we value our employees, how we value people as professionals, but even in terms of worthiness and productivity, a lot of times people feel like they have to constantly work. It is incredibly common for people that they don't shut off. They constantly have to do, they constantly have to perform. And when they take a break and they stop doing, they feel discomfort.
God, I feel like she's talking to me right now. It's like trippy. I'm like, are you talking to me? Can we make this about both of us?
Oh my God. We're talking to a lot of people right
yeah,
now.
I can all relate.
A lot of people feel that way, and they can't turn off, because if they turn off, the emotions turn on that they have been running away from. And those emotions might be saying, I don't feel good about myself. I identify with what I do, and I don't know who I am absent the identity of what I do. And that is a horribly frightening thought. So a lot of people think that their productivity or their calendar being full means that they have a full life, but that may not necessarily be the case.
So most realtors and entrepreneurs, I think, can relate. They live often this go, go, go lifestyle, right? So what are some ways that we can kind of, and I say we because I know that that's how we are, that we can release some stress, reset, live a more,
Life balance.
Balanced life, yeah.
Ooh, I think it is a matter of choice, number one. Sometimes we just have to make these tiny little shifts. It's the compound effect. So if we want to change our life, it's not these big sweeping actions. It's these small little micro adjustments that we make and we do consistently that compound over time to change your life. So for example, let's say that you are on the go and it is unreasonable to expect you to just cold turkey go meditate and have a Zen morning and do all those things. But we can start with small shifts. So if you are on the go all the time, maybe starting your morning with, if you drink coffee every morning, taking a deep breath in. And instead of saying, what's on my to-do list? What's on my to-feel list? What's on my to-be list? And that's a small shift that you do in 10 seconds. And that will compound over time. So looking at your life and saying, what are small shifts that I can do today? Not one day, not when you close on the property, when the deal is closed, when you make this amount of money, then I'll be a more balanced, more healthy person. What can we do today? And I promise you, every single person can do something today that will align them closer with their goals, even if it's as simple as taking a deep breath when you drink your coffee.
Yeah, so I want to add, Natalia and I met with you maybe like a month ago.
about.
And I was telling you all my problems. I was like, oh my God, free therapy here. And she's like, you're moving too fast. Just take a break. It's little, just like what you explained right now. And since then, I feel like I met you like a week ago, and I told you were like, how's it going? Are you busy? And I'm like, well, I just came back from a cruise and I did this, and I've been allocating time for my personal space without feeling guilty. And I took your advice, and I have to say it does work. It does work, ladies and gentlemen. You should try it. My business is still booming. Everything is fine. I don't have to be on that rat wheel,
Right.
busting
always
my
on the
butt.
go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, it's okay to pause.
So there's some science behind this. So for the people who believe this is all woo-woo and this is just all new age stuff, there is science behind this. So our bodies are designed to get elevated, to be in that fight or flight mode when it needs to be, when it's running from a bear, when there is something that is an emergency situation that we need to react to. Our bodies and our minds are not designed to stay in that constant level of stress. And when we are in that constant level of stress, it impacts the way our brain functions. So when we are in an elevated state of stress for a long period of time, we are strengthening the primitive parts of our brain. And the prefrontal cortex, which is responsible for higher level thinking, impulse control, that's less active because, again, you're not trying to solve the meaning of life when you're being chased by a bear. You're just trying to get safe. So when we are in a chronic state of stress, you are using the more primitive parts of your brain and weakening the more higher level functioning part of your brain. So
Or in other words, you're dumber when you're doing things too fast.
You're not 100%. And if you have these big dreams and these goals, you want to build an empire, you want to build a legacy, but you're not performing at your 100%. How does that make sense? Let's say that you want to drive across the country, but your tires are flat, but you think with your drive and determination, as long as you keep pushing the gas as hard as you can, you'll make it on your road trip. Maybe you will, but you'll damage your car.
Right.
Yeah.
It's the same with us, is you're not 100%, but you want to hit the gas pedal. Maybe you'll make it, maybe you won't. But if you stop and actually maintain yourself, put yourself in that higher level functioning so that you can activate your prefrontal cortex, strengthen your prefrontal cortex, you will work faster and more efficiently.
Yeah, efficient.
And you will get more done. So
Very good.
it's helpful.
100% helpful. Yeah. So is there anything else you want to add before we throw you in the little rapid fire? I know we have a lot to unpack here, but I think...
Is there anything I want to add? I will say this. We talked about hypnotherapy. I touched a little bit about psychedelics, and there are a lot of different modalities there. What is the best modality? Whatever moves the needle. So I am a big advocate for hypnotherapy. I'm a big advocate for psychedelics, but there are so many modalities. So the biggest thing I would love for people to know is that if you are suffering, you don't have to. And if you've tried things, try more things. Life can be hard. I understand that, but you don't have to suffer through it. There is a way out of that. So do not give up. Search for alternative modalities. There is an abundance of things you can do.
Thank you so much for that. That was so beautiful. All right. So this is going to be a rapid fire therapeutic edition, maybe, hopefully.
Yes. Let's have fun with it.
So a book that changed your mindset. We'll start off easy.
Conversations with God. It is not a religious book.
I read it.
So
Changed my life too. I loved it.
I'm going to add
You have to
another
read it.
book.
You have to read it.
I'm a book
Conversations with
nerd,
God.
so I'm going to say some things. Untethered Soul is a wonderful book. The Little Prince, which is a children's book, is wonderful. So I would say those are some great recommendations. If you're trying to change your habits, Atomic Habits and Compound
I've read
Effect
that one.
are wonderful books. If you are an entrepreneur and you are trying to build, even if you are in your later stages, there's a book, the E-Myth, E for entrepreneur. It has foundational things that people forget as entrepreneurs, that you don't necessarily work in your business, you work for your business. And sometimes we forget that, and that's what gets us in the grind and gets us stuck. So I gave you more than one
Yes,
because I'm a
thank you.
nerd.
Thank you.
What does your morning routine look like?
Ooh, my morning routine. I am a person of ritual. I don't work until 10, but I start my day at 5. So I am a big believer in starting the day with gratitude. So I have a gratitude journal, 3 things I'm grateful for, and then I complete these sentences. I am proud of myself for. I forgive myself for. I commit to myself that. And then I do affirmations. But I also am a big fan of creativity. And this is important. I know you had a guest that talked about AI. And AI can mimic thinking, but as humans, we still have to cultivate creativity. So this is a practice from the book, The Artist Way. I journal 3 pages every single day in order to train my brain to be creative. I do a lot in the morning.
Start doing that.
But those are some of the more mindful things that I do. But another big thing is just what can you do to savor your life? So I stop and reflect on what can I savor in my life that I don't ordinarily look at, like my puppy being really soft, the softness of my bed, being able to go outside and hear birds, like those little things. Because if you're focusing on these things, I guarantee you're not having anxious thoughts.
Next one, how do you ground yourself on a stressful day?
Ooh, how do I ground myself on a stressful way? There's a lot of different things. I love to be able to talk to someone that I can trust. There is a concept called co-regulation of our nervous system. We regulate our own nervous system, but sometimes having a friend who is calm and grounded and rooted and being in their presence and being seen and held by them will naturally ground us.
Yes.
If I'm really, really stressed, taking a walk outside, connecting with the earth, being really present. And think of kids when they play I Spy. What do you see? What do you smell? What do you touch? That brings you back into the present moment. And in every present moment, unless you're being chased by a bear, you're all right.
Yeah, it's going to be okay.
So
Okay.
it's very grounding.
What's a limiting belief you've overcome?
Oh my God. So many. Where do I start? I will start with the most recent. One of the limiting beliefs I had was that other women don't like me.
I remember you saying that at the event, and I was like
Yes.
blown away. I'm like, what? You're like the sweetest,
Yeah.
nicest.
Oh,
so
thank
amazing.
you. I grew up poor, so I didn't have Polly Pocket. I didn't have like the play makeup or the play jewelry. So the other girls didn't want to play with me, didn't get invited to sleepovers and parties, ate lunch alone. And when I stepped into my career as a hypnotherapist and I was called to help women, that limiting belief popped up. We talked about this as well as how do we check our limiting beliefs and overcome what's blocking us? When I went, I want to help women, but I'm scared. Part of you talks. And the part of me that talked was the little girl that says, hey, you remember no one wanted to play with us? And you have the audacity to think that you can help other women? And I said, yes, because there are other little girls just like you, and there are other women who never found their place, who never fully felt comfortable in their skin, and you can teach them how to do that. So being able to talk to that part of myself, bring it into alignment and say, I know that that's what it felt like, but not anymore. So that's also an example of what I told you about a practice.
So I have a
beautiful.
question. You actually had it at the event. It's, what decision would you make if you trusted yourself completely?
Ooh, so the event she's referring to, I'm going to do a shout out, is Goddess Growth Collective. And it is a group that comes together of women who really come to be seen and held. And every week we have this question. And one of the questions was exactly what you said is, if you completely trusted yourself, what decision would you make? My decision would be to trust in the matter of love. And I am incredibly career and goal driven. And there is this thought that a lot of career driven women, ambitious women have who are single Pringles. Are we going to be single if we're not putting so much effort into dating? And I am of the opinion that my heart has been called to serve. And if I am truly serving and putting all of my effort towards that, my maker will not abandon me. And what is meant for me will come to me. And that includes all things, including love. So if I truly trusted myself, I would just put those thoughts to rest is you don't need to worry about whether you'll be loved, whether you'll have a family. Trust that you are called to serve and your maker has not, will not, and will never abandon you.
I love that, Lani. That was beautiful. I know.
know.
She was talking to you on that one.
Oh my goodness. All right, Lani, thank you so much for sharing your energy, your truth with us today.
No, I'm happy to be here.
Thank you.
So
Yes,
much.
you've given us so many nuggets. Where can our listeners find you on Instagram? You mentioned your goddess.
Yes.
Yeah.
So the women's group in St. Petersburg, Florida is the Goddess Growth Collective. So it's goddessgrowthcollective.com. If you want information about the services and the things that I offer, just Google me. I'm everywhere. So if you just shove my name into Google, that is the easiest way to find me.
And to our listeners, remember, you can always make more money, but you can't make more time. So protect your energy and live with purpose.
Be sure to share this episode with your friends. And if you would like to be a guest on our show, email us at keepingitrealt@gmail.com. See you next time on Keeping It Real Tea.
Thank you all for tuning into our podcast. And I hope you guys enjoyed it as much as we did.
Don't forget to follow us on social media at keepingitreal_T and share this episode with all your friends.
If you guys have any questions and topics that you guys would like for us for future episodes, let us know. Shoot us a message. We would love to hear from you guys.
See you next time on Keeping It Real Tea.